All right, we are live. Happy Thursday, the 28th of July. Glad all you guys could make it. A couple of general announcements. Calibrax now has a beta 3 out, so if you guys want a local development environment to play with Backdrop running Docker, it's a pretty cool toy. I recommend using it and seeing what you think. If you want to make a donation to Backed Up CMS, you can do that on our website at the Contribute page. And we have t-shirts and hoodies as thank you gifts. If you want to make a $25 donation, you get a t-shirt. For $50, you get a hoodie. We are starting to run out of sizes of things. I realized last week that we're also out of men's extra large hoodies, which is the first hoodie size we're out of. So we're making another t-shirt order, and I'm going to ask the t-shirt lady if she can get us some extra large hoodies as well in a small batch. Since it doesn't require new framing or anything, that might not be too terribly expensive, but we'll see what she says. That's good. Okay, free P-Storm licenses are almost available, or almost, are definitely available for Backdrop Contrib developers. So if you're a member of the Backdrop Contrib group and you want to give PHP Storm a try, send an email to info@backdropcms.org and we can send you a license key. In updates from the PMC, if you guys are taking a look at the agenda, I got this super cute email from Graham72 today where he and I think it's his cousin or something, I don't remember, a very cute little boy, are both wearing matching dragon t-shirts, and they were in Wales, and so they got a picture of the Welsh flag, which also has a dragon on it, and they had their little dragon party, and so he sent a photo, which I thought was adorable, so I figured I'd share that with you guys today, just for a little dragon love. But yeah, I thought that was fantastic. They all look really happy, except for the Welsh dragon, who looks really grumpy, but I think that's his job as garter dragon, or whatever he does, so very cute. But that's all I have. Any updates from anyone else you guys want to share? No, not urgent. Okay. All right, let's move on to Nate in infrastructure tasks.
Okay. I was trying to screen share the dragon, but the picture is so small. Oh well. Okay, infrastructure. Okay, let's see. I am not entirely prepared. Okay, it looks like the first item on the agenda here, we've got the automatic updates meta. This is continuing the conversation from the past 2 weeks. It's issue 2024, and it's about trying to make it so the Backdrop can do automatic updates. Right now, it's all just theoretical discussion about automatic updates. I said last week that it's something that we definitely want to pursue in the goal of making our software more affordable and more maintainable. But at this point, it's all just theory about how we can possibly tackle this problem. If you're interested in looking at that, issue 2024. Let's see, infrastructure. The packager is still broken. Sorry, which is probably preventing. We've got the community update that Gregory will give, but there's not a whole lot of new releases that have been visible because the packager is broken. I have looked at that and everything looks good. I got to the point of testing it, and I think the testing also looks good, but I haven't actually gotten around to deploying the fixes to backdropcms.org. So hopefully that will happen imminently. I said last week I would get it done, but I'm sorry I did not. So hopefully today or this weekend we'll get the packager fixed. And I'll go through all of the recent releases and re-push them so that they'll all show up all at once. Let's see. Oh, that is issue 264 in the backdropcms.org issue queue, packager issue. Let's see. There's a suggestion that Gore made that that we do an MD5 checksum for each package project. That's a great idea. It's just a theory right now. But issue, uh, hmm, it's issue 1992, but I think it should probably be in the backdropcms.org issue queue, but right now it's in the general backdrop issue queue. So maybe we should move that over. Okay, that's it for the packager. Testing infrastructure updates. I don't think we actually need Gore to do much of an update here, other than some people noticed last week that we disabled Travis CI. I guess that's not in the agenda here, but I'll put it in here. Travis CI has been disabled. And that's because ZenCI has been working so well for us, and it's been going so quickly that Travis CI basically is just providing unnecessary noise on the pull request at this point. So ZenCI has been doing really well for us. It's really fast. We're really thrilled with it. One thing I saw on the Twitters this week, also not in the agenda, is that I'm taking a look at StyleCI. StyleCI is another GitHub pull request integration that can do code style checking, and then it automatically posts to the pull requests like suggestions, which I know that had been something that we were considering ZenCI doing in the future, and if it does do that in the future, that's great. But I'm taking a look at it, taking a look at StyleCI in the short term, just to see if it can provide that functionality already. So it's free for open source repositories, so it doesn't seem like there would be any downside to taking a look at it.
Have you looked at any JavaScript testing stuff?
Oh, I have not. I have been every now and then checking in on the Drupal 8 JavaScript testing framework, which is interesting. It ties into Simpletest. It basically just expands Simpletest's ability by making a new test base class that is like a WebKit-based class. It requires additional setup on the test bot, of course, which isn't surprising, or on the testing server that you're doing. But I do think that might be, I mean, actually, I definitely think that would be something that would be very valuable to us, because things like that CK editor being disabled, like after you upload a file, like we can test for things like that. So at this point, we don't have any progress towards implementing it, I don't think. But I know that Drupal 8 has done something, and it's still all Simpletest based, which means that it's mostly portable over to Backdrop as well. Yeah, we could add that in here, JavaScript-based testing. That is just a thing that we would like to pursue, but at this point we've got a lot of balls in the air. We need somebody to actually take a lead on that to make progress on it, because that's a big undertaking. From what I've seen, it took Drupal, a couple of years, but it's already implemented now, so it might be easy for us to go and grab their code and move it over. Let's see. That's it for the infrastructure tasks I've got. Next item on the agenda is backdropcms.org. Jen?
Unmute. All right. So there's a bunch of stuff we have going on backdropcms.org. We've got single sign-on with GitHub. We have showcase for websites. We have the new support section. I think since last week, I put up the new support page at backdropcms.org/support, which has a list of all of the online resources in the sidebar, including the books that are available, and then 2 coming soon segments for documentation and a forum, and the list of professional services below. And that was basically so that when people go to the support link in the sidebar on the main website, they aren't stuck with only our service providers, which, though they're important, there's a lot more to support than that. So I think that's where we are with that. Obviously, we need to actually make the coming soon things come soon. But I think it's important that people know that we are working on them. We've had a bunch of feedback on documentation lately, and it's like, oh, yes, we know we're working on it. It's actually coming on really well. So the support page will just be there to let new people know that those things are in the works. Then other things we're working on are making usage statistics visible, improving the modules, themes, and layouts pages, cleaning up the blog news announcement area. Event listings and service provider listings also need, I think, additional views filters added. And I know I gave Jeff a new database dump last week, and then we're also working on getting like a Drush command for getting sanitized databases out, which means we could potentially set up an easier way for anyone to grab a copy of the backdropcms.org database if they wanted to contribute more, which I think will help kind of unblock us too. So we've got a bunch of things that will make developing our site easier on everyone, which is going to be good in the long term, and a bunch of little tiny bits of progress now. I don't know, Gregory, if you want to give us an update on what's going on with documentation. I haven't checked in on it in a while. It looks like there's a whole bunch of pages that are there now, and they're all published, but none of them are linked from anywhere. I don't know if you know where we are in terms of the big picture, if there's a whole bunch left to be done, or if we're pretty close.
Yeah, the documentation is being done mainly by the others. I was supposed to help as well, at least do the screenshot parts. But I'm really, since I returned, my brother left, so I'm running out of time. Promise in 3 weeks from now I can start doing the proofreading and the screenshots, but no update and no time, unfortunately.
Okay, that's right. We just had someone else volunteer today to work on documentation too. So I was just wondering who I should put him in touch with. It sounds like maybe Graham, or yeah. We'll figure it out. But it's good that we have more people. He's offered to either write documentation or do some proofing. But I don't know. We'll see what's needed, and hopefully you guys can all work together. But it looks great. I was really impressed to log in and be like, oh my God, there's all these documentation pages in here. So good job, everybody who's been working on that. I
might be able to find some time during this weekend, but I can't promise anything. And I love screenshots, so yeah, I'll try to do a little bit of reading through the documentation, and whatever I think that some screenshots are necessary, I might. But I can't promise anything.
Okay, that's great. Cool. Anything you can do would be great. If not, we should have more hands on deck soon too. Let's see. I guess that's it for the primary website. I'm super excited about documentation because I think that's the first thing we can kind of check off of our coming soon list. And we've got a whole bunch of other people who are interested in it too. All the other stuff we obviously need and are working on it too. Oh, did I mention last week that anyone who has sites for the showcase can enter the content now? We don't have a listing displayed anywhere, but we have some designs for it. So it'll be great to have some real content in there when we start building those out. So if you have any sites that you want to show off, you can enter them at any time. All right, I think that's it for website. But let's move on to Backdrop CMS, the project itself. So I don't know, Jeff, do you want to talk about the next release? It says Jeff on the schedule, but maybe this is Nate.
Yeah, Jeff's been doing some work on stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I can do it.
Surprise!
No worries. So Drupal 7.50 came out, has a bunch of features and bug fixes, so we're going through those issues and seeing which ones are portable, applicable, and which ones are 1.44 targets and which ones are 1.50 targets. 1.5.0. So moved the UTF-8 to our corresponding backdrop issue referencing the Drupal issue so that we can, that's going to be a 1.5.0 target, but it might give us a roadmap there, so that's good. A few of the, several of them have PRs against backdrop, and the ones that were clearly bug fixes and that I could test I've been merging in, and the ones that I'm not sure about test or how appropriate they are, would like Nate to take a look at. Clickjacking was one that I found interesting, but I don't know if it's testable. They claimed it wasn't testable in the Drupal issue, but anyway, just as an example, that's one I would like Nate to get his eyes on. So there's a couple of other just backdrop specific issues that are in tagged for 1.4.4 that are reviewed and tested by the community that I would also like Nate to take a look at. And those are listed here. Path Auto target the token field when you click on it. So if you click on the token browser and you're not already clicked into the field as it stands currently, if you're clicked into some other field, it will put the token in there, and you might not notice and save and get the token in your title field or something. But there's a PR to target that with JavaScript so that if you click on the token browser, it puts it in the right place. I think I wrote a test for that. So primarily, I think I want Nate to look at the test and make sure that we're... Oh, no, that one doesn't have a test because that's JavaScript. Oh, this next one I wrote a test for. The front page is not respecting the number of posts. So if you change your default backdrop front page to say 3 posts or something, it doesn't save that settings variable, so it doesn't. But there's a PR and a test for that one out there. Reviewed and tested by the community. All of these are reviewed and tested by the community. Publishing. It says status, but I think it's path. Oh no, that's the old one. Oh, this is, yeah, this, I'm not sure what this issue is, but it's reviewed and tested by the community. I looked in the issue queue. So we should take a look at it and see if it's still relevant and see if we should merge that. Bug fixes. Nate, you want to take that over?
Yeah, there's a lot of really great stuff, and thanks for putting some focus on the ones that are most important or most interesting. That UTF-8 one is really fascinating. I know we tried to take a look at supporting emojis right after WordPress started supporting emojis. So that's really awesome to see that Drupal 7 supports it, at least on new installs. It looks like there's a lot of finickiness around upgrading existing websites. And I thought that, actually it is the case that there's like special MySQL configuration that also needs to be done in order to support it. And it looks like in the world of Drupal, because those settings are the defaults, they're almost always enabled on certain versions of MySQL if your version of MySQL is high enough. That they basically just stop the installer if for some reason your MySQL supports UTF-8, full UTF-8, but is configured to disable it, then they just throw an error in the installer and say, hey, you should change this, which seems like a pretty adequate compromise. I think supporting the full UTF-8 character set these days is like a no-brainer. Like, right now, if you put an emoji in a post or something like that, things go terribly wrong. Okay, that's awesome.
What happens? What happens to people who don't have control over their MySQL database but are trying to install it? It just dies and they can't install it?
I think that is the case.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess maybe we'll take a look at that, but I need to. That's what I gleaned from the issue, but I haven't actually confirmed that yet. Oh, I know. You can also specify in settings.php the character set, but to override it, but that requires the really big array syntax version of the database connection string, which we're not using by default anymore. So, so I guess that there would be a way to work around it, but it would not be very friendly, especially considering in Backdrop we have got the friendly connection string instead of the giant messy arrays. That would be really counterintuitive for our users, I think, to need to do something completely different. Anyway, it's yeah, we already have an issue. It's issued 884, and we can keep talking about it there. Okay, let's see. Major bug fixes. Let's see. There's issue 1985, which is the major Safari Flexbox problem. Last week, I looked into the code review on that, and I think that we've gotten down to the bottom of what the problem is there, and we have a fix that supposedly will just magically make Safari start working, but it needs testing. I know Wes and Jen have both expressed that they hope to get testing on that sometime. Okay, yeah, I see some nodding. Okay, excellent. Yeah, because it seems like it's a pretty straightforward test. It's just completely bananas what actually caused the problem in Safari. So, but actually really simple to fix. So yay, it looks like that would be great. The other one that we have here that is fixed already is 1564. Jeff merged this fix that makes it so that after doing an AJAX request, CKEditor disabled itself on the node edit form, which is really obnoxious for node uploads or for file uploads. So that's merged and is ready for 1.4.4. I expressed last week, I think that if any of these bug fixes are fixed, that we'll make a new release of Backdrop, because they're both all of these are major Backdrop breaking bugs. And so with that one fixed, we should make a 1.4.4 release as soon as possible. My thought on this is we're so close on that Safari Flexbox one, we think, that we should take a look at that and see if we can fix that one as well, and then ship them out together. There's also a bunch of other issues that Jeff has tagged for 1.4.4. I'll run through the entire pull request queue of things that are tagged for 1.4.4 and try to get all of those reviewed this week. Let's see, images frustrating deleted. This happens on blocks. If you upload an image into a block using the CKEditor, the image will get deleted by the cron cleanup task 6 hours later. I know that one's been stuck. It's issue 1373, and that's pending my input, but also if anybody else has some input or ideas on how to fix that, then we can take a look. My personal feeling on it, Jeff, I know you've been waiting for me on that, is that the current approach, it seems like it's mostly getting to where we want to go, but I think we may also need to add some new hook or something to actually do it for all blocks rather than, well, I don't know. I need to take a look at it. I know that it's stuck. It's a really ugly fix, and that's what I'm trying to come up with, something that's a little bit more elegant, which probably means make a new hook so that you don't need to do crazy looping through every block when you save a layout.
Well, yeah, I would sort of say that we should probably just not allow images to be uploaded through the blocks, and instead concentrate on sort of the file entity API thing from Drupal 7, where you can actually just upload files directly to the managed file system and create a file entity process. So then if you want to include an image in a block, you first have to upload it as a file entity and then include it. But that seemed a lot cleaner of a solution than some of the other things that have been discussed.
Yeah.
That's a really horrible solution from a user perspective, though, to have to use two different interfaces to create one thing. So I think like what we need to do is have the widget in the CK editor do all of that for the user behind the scene.
We could do that, but it'd also be good to be able to actually like manage those file entities as well, so then you can actually delete the files if they're no longer needed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, both are important. I do think that for the case of a block, it's a super common use case that we should try to shortcut it or make a very specific fix for blocks. But there's lots of other places where we also have the same problem, like when you upload an image into the header field for a view, for example. And so I do think that we need a fix that also makes it so that we can disable image uploading on non-entity like fields, like configuration like things, like views, or any other place where we have a rich text editor, but no entity in which to save, to associate the file. So
well, that's the same thing we have with the blocks.
Yeah, exactly, like we have with the blocks. Yeah, and so I totally agree that both are important. Just that blocks are the most obvious and common thing that people are running into right now.
So does the file manage table have to tie the file to an entity?
It does. And in addition to that, moving files is not something that the configuration system could handle. Like it can't. Like if you export your configuration, the entire concept is broken by having files that are also being pushed around. And those files would have an entity ID because files are entities, or a file ID. Like the whole thing just goes to pot. So files basically at this point can't be configuration. They have to be content like everything else. And so I think it's fine that we allow an image tag in the configuration, but actually managing that file is going to be outside of configuration management. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure it makes it easy.
Yeah.
That's why it hasn't been solved yet.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got some progress on that one. I do think that both disabling uploads and making a shortcut for blocks, both of those are really good things. Okay, let's see. And then there's an issue that the path settings do not save when creating a new content type. I've totally run into this issue. It looks like there's been no pull request yet, but it's easily reproducible, and that would also be a great thing to get fixed. We'll want to add a new test for that, of course. We have tests for checking this setting, but I guess that we must not do it on new content types. So we must be doing it on existing content types. So we need to expand our test suite there too to make sure that doesn't happen again. Okay, that's issue 2022. Okay, let's talk about the next minor release, which is 1.5.0, which is scheduled for September 15th, 2016. We're calling it the Editorial Experience release. The first item that we have on here is the reference module, issue 1301. It says here an update from QuickSketch, which is me. But Mike, since you're here, have we had any enhancements in the world of reference module?
I am actually working on it today.
Hey!
What I've been working on. I had this client that kept saying their project was almost ready, and we just had to do the last couple things on it for the past couple weeks now, and finally I just told them, listen, this isn't working. I can't help you on it anymore. So that's why I'm back here and working on the reference module. So hopefully I'll have some more progress by the end of the day to push to the repository.
Okay, excellent. That's fantastic. Yeah, as I've noted in previous meetings, it's currently in Contrib, which means that anybody can help work on it. And if you make some improvements or have some things to, or you find some bugs that you want fixed, please file pull requests against the Contrib module. Mike
is anyone actually trying to use it yet? Because I'm actually just breaking it for any previously installed things. So I'm moving something from the field configuration to the field instance configuration. So if anyone is trying to use it, which they shouldn't be, it's going to break.
Yeah, unknown. It doesn't show up on backdropcms.org because we haven't made a release. So.
Yeah. Right. So, just warning.
Let's see. It's noted in here. One of the biggest challenges with this module probably are the upgrade paths. That there's contrib modules that previously, like node reference and user reference module, that need to be accounted for, as well as the core term reference module. And I hadn't even thought about that until somebody put it here into the agenda. That could make yeah, that could be quite challenging. Let's see. I think is Mike's picture frozen for anybody else?
Oh, am I frozen?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I missed what you were saying right then.
You're frozen, but we can still hear you, so it's all good.
Okay. What were you saying? What was this? The thing that was in the agenda?
That we have this challenging problem that we need to do an upgrade path for the term reference, the core module, into reference module. And I'm not sure if that's something that you've been thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about that as that actually is something that we have to do. I'm not sure what. I don't think that we should do a straight update. We might want to keep that as an option for people to use so it doesn't break. What I'd like to do is maybe I brought this up before, but actually a helper module that actually helps convert fields from one field type to another.
Yeah.
And this might be a good test case or start case. So if someone has like term reference, they can enable reference field and then this helper module, and
Mike's frozen again.
Oh, yep. But I'm right on board with everything he's saying. That a helper
I
module
disagree. I don't think we should put two ways to do the same thing in core. I think that's going to be a huge user experience fail, especially for people who are coming from Drupal and think they should use a term reference field and don't realize that there's a better way if they have in there before. I think if we can get them from the old field type to the new field type via an update hook, we should do it. I don't see a reason we can't. I mean, I think it's just something we need to do. I don't see a downside. I mean, I do a lot of oops, I chose the wrong field type, like upgrades in general on my website, so I don't think it's going to be, like, we'll just need to look at what it looks like before and what it looks like afterwards and make sure we're not going to confound people with the changes. But I don't see it being a blocker. It's just kind of a to-do item.
Well, I do think that, I mean, we can't just rip out term reference wholesale and replace it with reference module, because that in itself is like a major API change, right?
Is it?
Well,
yeah.
Every function in the whole module would disappear. That is definitely an API change if functions are being removed.
What if they're just being turned from an actual function into a wrapper for another API?
Well, if that were actually possible. But, I mean, and the database table's changing too. I mean, all of that is API related.
I don't know that it's a database table change if it's just we have a different field type and we're migrating from the old one to the new one.
Well, one possibility is
we should look at it.
Well, yeah.
Once we
One
have it done, we don't
possibility
know
is
what it
that
is yet.
we could use the hidden flag like we have for other modules, that like we did for layouts. That the old system is still there for existing sites that are doing an upgrade from Backdrop 1.4 to 1.5, but on new installations, term reference is not an option.
Yeah.
Something like that. Then we have no API change. Term reference is deprecated. There's a module to help you move off of term reference onto reference, and then when 2.0 comes out, there's no more term reference at all.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, it's kind of been our pattern for. I mean, we've done it in the past, or Drupal did it in the past, but didn't do it real well for profile module because it never provided an upgrade path at all. If you were on profile module, you're just like, eh. But we did a good job on layouts. I feel like that the old layouts are still there. You can use them, but on new sites they're disabled. And I think that generally solves all the problems.
We're not talking about a module. Like, there isn't a term reference module. It's just a field type.
There isn't a module for that?
Actually, I think you're right. That it's just part of. I think it's just part of taxonomy module.
Yeah.
Oh. What about the node reference module?
That's in Contrib.
That's in Contrib. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
okay, so that makes it easy then, because then we don't have to have a disabled module. Just stop having taxonomy support creating those fields.
Yeah, we need to figure out a way to have hidden fields essentially, or move out the taxonomy reference into a separate module, but that has all the same function names, and then mark the entire module as hidden. We can do either way.
Anyway, this sounds like a discussion we can have.
Yeah, I think it's also maybe a little early to have it now. Like, we should wait and see what our end result is, and then look at it and be like, how different is what we have to what we want, and try and figure out what the path forward is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think we need to keep rolling through the outline in any case. Okay, let's talk about the next new feature in 1.5, which is a new front-end theme called the Basis theme, issue 1361. Wes, do you want to give an update on Basis?
Yep. I kept meaning to do work on Basis the last couple of weeks and haven't gotten to it, but I am working on it right now. And I'm making a lot of weird faces because I'm reading every tag that exists in the HTML spec, and I'm finding out about ones like KBD, which is when you have something that references the keyboard. Weird. Anyway, so that's related to a feature that I'm going to put into Basis. Maybe Backdrop, like, proper. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, I'm going through all the issues that I have in the Basis queue and trying to make sure that I'm providing a good solution. It's still not in... You can only find it on GitHub and upload it through FTP because it's not in the index yet. But yeah, when that's fixed, it should get in there. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I should have a lot of time to work on it because my contract for my current client ends this week. So next week I should have lots of free time. Hooray! I think that's it. Unless, yeah, if anyone has anything, just put it in my issue queue in Contrib, and I should hopefully be a lot more responsive.
Okay, awesome. There's also an item here for a to-do checklist when you install Backdrop. It's looking pretty likely that this is, I mean, that's much less important than anything else, but if we get to it, that would be great. Yeah, possibly already looking at getting bumped. Because we can always add, additional out-of-the-box features later. The new theme is definitely priority over, further iteration on it.
Oh, and I'm also still looking for back-end help on responsive menus. I need help with setting up the config. So yeah, if anyone has some time, let me know.
I can help with that.
Yay!
Jen, you're queued for the homepage layouts issue.
I have a local copy. I need to make a pull request of a homepage layout that doesn't do anything fancy yet, which is, I guess, a good place to start. And then I also have some thoughts about the home hero blocky thing, but now I have questions about how to manage that based on the block image upload thing, because we're going to be doing exactly the same configuration content crossover with if we have a UI that allows people to upload an image, but there's no entity or content item to which that image can be attached, we're going to be facing exactly the same problems. So I'll reread the disappearing images issue and see what's going on there and see if we can tackle that in the homepage rotator item as well.
Cool. The only other item that we've got slated for 1.5 as far as major items go is improving the rich text editor. There's a meta issue at 1087. There's a lot of enhancements that we could do to make the rich text editor better, drag and drop uploads, copy and paste, those sorts of things. And it would be great to have some eyes on that. I know that actually the version of CKEditor that we're currently using even has capabilities to do those things. It's just a matter of integrating it properly into Backdrop. So issue 1087, there's a bunch of sub-issues under there. We'd love to improve the rich text editor further. There's also some other issues of less importance that are tagged for the 1.5 release. You can see them by clicking on the 1.5 milestone in GitHub issue tracker. Let's see. We're always doing regular continuous improvements on UX and DX. You can find them by searching for the square brackets UX and DX issues in GitHub. If those are, as we find or are able to fix anything, we are always regularly pulling them in. Let's see. Next item on here on the agenda, we've got the community growth section. Gregory?
Right. I have a question after that with regards to a new application. But yes, let's start with the stats. Seems that the northern hemisphere is in summer mode, so everything's slow. Total projects on Backdrop CMS is 291, only one since last meeting. We have 202 projects with official releases on backdropcms.org, no change there. 301 releases on backdropcms.org, which is only 2 since last meeting. And then we have 54 contrib authors, which is, again, nothing new. One new pending application for authors, which brings the total to 14. 24 organization profiles on backdropcms.org, no change there either. The only thing that we're seeing an increase is the total user accounts created on backdropcms.org, which is a good thing. That's 314, which is 19 since last meeting. That sums it up. My question is, we have an application pending, a new application, and a few questions came up. I wanted Nate's input there. The author is trying to at the same time keep the repo in GitHub for both Drupal and Backdrop, and he created a 1.x/-1.x release for Backdrop. And I'm seeing a potential problem there with when it goes to Backdrop goes to version 3, 4, and eventually 6 or 7 will have a clash with the versions of Drupal. And I don't know, Nate, you're back now. Did you see that issue that I'm talking about in Contrib with the new author request? That's issue 107.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, let me give you a quick link. So there's an easy question. First of all, let me say that. Put the other one on the side. The license.txt recommendation that we have says GPL version 2, but the new author has a GPL version 3, and I'm not licensed expert. So is there any conflict there? Do we accept version 3? Is it backward compatible?
So they can do that. It's a matter of policy whether or not we want to enforce everything being in the official repository being GPL version 2 or not. And so from a legal standpoint, there's no problem. You can extend GPL 2 to 3 at any time. It's at the author's discretion. However, it's a matter of whether or not we want to enforce a policy of within the Backdrop Contrib group, do we want to make it so that everything is GPL version 2 or not? Yeah.
And when will we make a decision on that?
I'm not sure. I feel like I need to do some more research on that as well. Like maybe I don't know. Is there an issue already to discuss it? We should just have a discussion in the Contrib group, I think, about our policy there.
Okay, and the other issue is that has to do with infrastructure. I think this guy is the first author that brings both Drupal and Backdrop versions on a single GitHub repository, and the Backdrop version is 1.x-1.x, and I'm afraid that eventually it will clash with the versions, the tags on the repo for Drupal when we reach version 6 in the far future, but still, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
What do we do there?
Yeah, I don't think that that's a problem that we really need to be worried about. I mean, you're right that eventually they will clash, but if they do ultimately clash, you can just split it into 2 separate repositories.
Also, by the time Backdrop reaches version 6, there's no way the code will be compatible between Backdrop 6 and Drupal 20, so it wouldn't make sense to share the repositories anyway.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, that's it from me.
Cool. Yeah, anything that makes things easier. If people find that workflow of a single GitHub repository for Backdrop and Drupal makes sense for them, then more power to them. Okay, let's see. News and announcements update, Jen.
I lost my agenda. Here we are. All right, blog post. I wrote a blog post. I was just actually going to give it to Mike to review. It's about Twin Cities, Drupal Camp, and all of this amazing stuff that's going on with security thinking. So hopefully we'll be able to get that out today or maybe first thing tomorrow morning. We also want to do another blog post about core committers. So it's been a long time, but we get to get that one out. I know you've got a lot on your plate this week with reviews. Do we want to have somebody else write that post? Like, should we ping Doc Beaumont about it, or maybe Jeff could write his own welcome to myself blog post?
I say Nate reviews pull requests and we forego that blog post. You guys already welcomed me.
All right.
Yeah, it's really mostly for the benefit of other people, like the people that are in this meeting. Clearly, there's more than Backdrop is more than the Jen and Nate show, but I still feel like a lot of people might have that impression that that there's only a couple of people running this thing, and so really the blog post is to inform other people that we have lots of other people. And actually, it was so nice with our 2-week vacation there that the ship kind of kept its course, which was awesome. So anyway, that's what we're trying to convey with that, really.
Can I write an XKCD style cartoon called The Jen and Nate Show and post that on Backdrop blog? I'm inspired.
I think that is going to have the opposite of effect as our intended blog post.
Yeah.
All right, we also need to send a newsletter. I think as soon as we get the next release out, which hopefully will be in the next day or so, we will send the next newsletter. I would love to send the newsletter more regularly, but we have not been doing a very good job of that. Speaking of not things we're not doing a terribly good job at, the next section of the meeting is community outreach. We had tried to have a meeting today about community outreach stuff, but there were not many people in attendance, so we figured that rather than talking about all of the stuff that we know that we need to do with the people that already know we need to do it, it would be better to go do it. So we stopped the meeting and I went and wrote that blog post, which I think was pretty good. We have had a bunch of interest from new people lately who've been emailing in to the info at Backdrop. I just wanted to know how we can help, and I'm trying to steer them all towards community outreach style stuff. So if we can get more people working on writing blogs in various places on the internet, whether it's our site or their own sites or whatever, or helping us organize newsletters, or just generally talking about Backdrop at different events, I think it would be great if we could kind of focus a little bit more on spreading the word, because it does seem like now is the time when people are starting to make decisions about their future, and it would be great if everybody knew that Backdrop was an option. So the more outreach we can do right now, I think the better. So yeah, if anyone's thinking about advertising, wants to help us there, we have kind of a huge hole in terms of how to figure out who to advertise to and how much to budget and all that stuff. But yeah, I think also anyone who can help us share the love would be great. We have scheduled another community outreach meeting 2 weeks from now, so on the 11th. I just kind of updated today's agenda to point to next week's agenda, so hopefully we can get a little bit more done between now and then, and then we can talk about what is still left to be done then, and try and get that cleaned up a little bit. So if anyone's interested in joining that meeting at West, sorry, I will add it to the calendar. I do not think it was on the Backdrop meetings calendar. That'll help people who are following along with that, who want to come to. Sprints. Every Thursday after this meeting, we do a little Backdrop sprint where we all get together in the issue queue and solve hard problems, or sometimes easy problems, depending on our commitment level. So hopefully see you all there later today. We have a Gitter channel where we hang out. I also posted a new link to that on the support page, so hopefully people will find that a little more easily. We still are in IRC just because Drupal folks are in IRC, and it's good to talk between the two of us there. And right now we have a Reddit. We're not using very much, but hopefully that'll move on to backdropcms.org shortly as our place to have a forum. We have an upcoming events page. There's a couple events this month. We have DrupalCorn, which is next week, that I'm going to be going to and giving a training, so I won't be here for next week's meeting, but Nate will be, I think. So you guys can practice floating the ship with Nate around only. Should be just fine. And then I think 2 weeks after that we have DrupalCamp LA. And John, I'm not sure if you're here in spirit or here in reality, but I did want to say that we should get the DrupalCamp LA event on backdropcms.org's website. If you're comfortable with that, you should have access to that as a logged-in user on the site. Or I could do it, but I figured since it's your baby, you should do it if you wanted to, and you could put whatever information you wanted to on there. Awesome! Already did it. Oh yeah! Oh, so we got our session too. So I proposed a session for a DrupalCamp LA on Backdrop, which was instantly accepted and tweeted, which made me really happy. So that'll be really fun to get back to LA. Talk to the local folks. Oh, speaking of DrupalCorn, is anyone in this meeting going to be at that event? No. By chance? No? Okay. I was trying to see if I could wrangle up some other co-speakers for the training we're doing there. But I think maybe Jim Birch might be there. I'll ping him too. And see if we can get some collaborators. Also, yeah, at any of these events, if we have submitted, are you giving a talk on Backdrop at DrupalCamp Philadelphia?
Unfortunately, I only got one this year. I'm giving it on WebVR.
Fine.
Which is exciting, but you know.
Is Drupal Camp PA on the Backdrop events calendar?
I don't know. I mentioned it last year, and I gave a backdrop talk last year, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure. Like, it's a little weird to be putting like other people's events on there without their like specific approval or like obvious acceptance of Backdrop.
We have their blessing. I know them. We're tight.
All right, awesome. Do you want to throw that on the website?
Sure.
Okay, that'd be great.
Good.
And then anything else anyone's planning on going to? I saw Drupal Camp Asheville is on our schedule. I don't know if anyone's giving a talk there. I think maybe we met with someone at Twin Cities Drupal Camp who was submitting the session on Backdrop. I'm not sure it got in or not, but we can check that out too. So lots of good stuff. And if anyone has any non-Drupal events they're going to and giving talks at like the N10 Summit I know Jack went to recently, it would be great to get those on our calendar as well. So feel free, everybody, just edit away. All right, you guys probably know about the books, Beginning Backdrop CMS and Upgrading from Drupal to Backdrop, both written by Todd Tomlinson. But that is it for the agenda. We are kind of out of time, but if anyone has anything they'd like to bring up while we're all still here. Nope. All right. Well, then we can go hang out in Gitter and the GitHub issue queue and solve hard or easy problems. Thanks all for coming this week, guys. Good to see so many smiling faces.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks again.